Hey, what's going on, movie lovers? My name is Vivaldi II, back again with another movie video. In this video, we're going to be doing my top 10 favorite movies. So, let's get right into it. So basically, all this video is going to be is just a ranking of my top 10 favorite movies. The name kind of speaks for itself. Anyways, let's get right into it. Princess Bride. Honestly, this movie is so great that I have no idea what genre it falls under. Is it comedy? Action? Fantasy? Romance? I have no idea. Anyways, this is definitely one of the best movies that I've watched, hence why it earned the top 10 spot. I really like the characters and story, and I also recognized actors like Wallace Shawn and Billy Crystal in there, who I know from Toy Story and Monsters Inc., respectively. Number 9. Shrek the Third. Alright, I'll let you peeps giggle it off for a bit. Alright, you done? Anyways, all jokes aside, I love Shrek, and if I'll be quite honest with you, I was originally going to put Shrek 2 in this one's place, but I like Shrek the Third just a little more. It was only a few years ago that I first heard that some people absolutely despise this film. That's blasphemous. I may be nostalgia blind, but I grew up watching the Shrek films when I was a kid. But my opinion on Shrek the Third is a little hard to explain. I think it's how they're focusing on a lot of characters, which I know may be something that a lot of people don't like. The first Shrek is, I hate to say it, my least favorite of the films because it only really focuses on Shrek, Fiona, and Donkey, whereas Shrek the Third has a little more variety. You've got Shrek, Puss, Donkey, and Artie, Fiona, Lillian, and the princesses, the Fairy Tale Gang, and Prince Charming, along with a few others. Overall, I'd say this is a film that's better than most people say it is. Number 8. Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, which is the only movie on this list that I own a copy of on DVD. This is, without a doubt, my favorite Christmas movie, alongside the first Home Alone and Elf. Despite the fact that it's not the only Christmas movie to take place in New York, some good examples of this being Elf and Miracle on 34th Street, it still felt unique to see Kevin McAllister in a big city rather than in his own house. Like in the first Home Alone, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern are a great duo that I wish could have appeared in more films together, and it was interesting to see Tim Curry as one of the staff in the hotel. Overall, this is probably the go-to comedy film to watch during the holiday season. Number 7. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Now don't get me wrong, Raiders of the Lost Ark is a timeless classic, but there's something else about Temple of Doom that is a little difficult to explain. Most people say it's their least favorite of the four films, but I beg to differ. It's another fun adventure film with a little horror thrown into the mix. From eyeball soup to screaming blonde-haired singers, it was all pretty enjoyable for me. I especially think that Short Round was one of the best sidekicks in an Indiana Jones movie, and Willie, although a little annoying, is also loyal to Indy and Shorty. I believe that this film definitely deserves a little more respect than what it has gotten. Number 6. Star Wars Episode 5 The Empire Strikes Back. Of course, no top 10 movie list is complete without a Star Wars movie, and I think I chose a great option. Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back is an iconic cinematic masterpiece that everyone needs to watch at some point in their life. I think the reason why this movie is so iconic is because of the "No, I am your father" scene. Quite possibly the greatest plot twist in movie history. Also, we start to see some romantic interaction between Han and Leia, which is showing that the story is making good progress. This is, without a doubt, one of the greatest films of all time. Number 5. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I may be the most unoriginal person in the universe, but my My favorite Harry Potter movie is Prisoner of Azkaban. I can't talk today. For those who are wondering what my favorite of the novels is, that would go to Goblet of Fire. Anyways, I really enjoyed this film because it's a well written adaptation of the novel. The darker tone of the series is noticeably. I can't talk today, like I said. Anyways, I'm reading off my script. The darker tone of the series is noticeably starting to take shape here before all the HE double hockey sticks breaks loose in the Goblet of Fire. The mystery behind Sirius Black, his escape from Azkaban, and his misconceptualized betrayal of Harry's parents turning out to be fellow and former Marauder, now Death Eater, Peter Pettigrew. Also, it's really neat seeing actors like David Thewlis and Emma Thompson appearing as Lupin and Trelawney, respectively. They really suit the characters. And I really need to work on my script reading. Number 4. Finding Nemo. Look, I know most of you would agree that Star Wars, Harry Potter, and Indiana Jones are better than Finding Nemo, but this movie means a lot to me. It's among the first movies I remember watching, and it was one that I've watched so many times that if you were to come up to me and suggest a random character from this movie, I could say at least one of their lines. Also, I can relate to Nemo in a way, because for the first 7 years of my life, it was just me and my mom. Sort of like how it was with just Nemo and Marlin. Also, before you ask, no, my dad is not dead. And I can also thank this movie for making me become fascinated with ocean animals, most notably sharks and whales. I think one of the primary reasons why this is my favorite Pixar movie is because I'm nostalgic for it. And I'm very sure that I'm not the only one who can say that. Number 3. Oliver and Company. This is my favorite Disney animated feature, and that's to be expected for those who have already watched my Disney Dark Age ranking video. Oliver and Company has a bit of a similar backstory as Finding Nemo. It was among one of the first Disney movies I watched, and I loved it. Sure, it's not the best Disney movie. That'd go to something more like Little Mermaid, Lion King, or Beauty and the Beast. But it's so underrated that I feel it deserves a little more love. It has great songs, lovable characters, and a faithful capturing of what life is like down in New York City. Also, I think it's genius how Disney made the Charles Dickens novel Oliver Twist into a movie about cats and dogs. Oliver is an absolutely adorable kitten who, in some parts, has set me on the verge of tears because of how adorable he is. Also, Dodger and the rest of his gang are a cool group of dogs who, if I were an animal, would totally hang out with. Like I said in my last video, if you haven't watched Oliver and Company already, then I highly recommend it, especially to those who are fans of Disney movies, animal movies, or Disney animal movies. Number 2. Jurassic Park, specifically the first one. Honestly, where do I start? This movie is just so good. This awesome movie directed by Steven Spielberg just hits it out of the park. I was 10 years old when I first watched Jurassic Park, and oh man, the scene where the T-Rex is attacking the truck instantly sends shivers down my spine. I was barely brave enough to not cover my eyes during that part. I think one of the reasons why I love Jurassic Park so much is because of how fun of a thriller it is. The dinosaurs really were scary, and in a good way, of course. I can only imagine how hard it would have been to program all of the animatronics to act the way dinosaurs would have acted back during their time. Long live Jurassic Park. And finally, for the number 1 spot, the Back to the Future trilogy, specifically Part 2. I introduced myself to these movies just a few months ago, and all I can really say is that it was love at first watch. The original may be the best of the trilogy, and Part 3 was a fun spin on spaghetti westerns, but for me, Back to the Future Part 2 is where it's at. It's amazing and admittedly a little funny seeing all the futuristic advanced technology in the first act of the film, like flying cars and hoverboards. As a bonus, I guess we know that in some alternate universe, Universal Studios has made 15 more Jaws movies. It was also shocking seeing the alternate 1985 and refreshing to return to good old 1955. Like with the rest of the movies on this list, I highly recommend the Back to the Future films to anyone who hasn't seen them. They truly are among the greatest films of all time. Anyways, that is about it for my list. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you like my videos, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and make sure to tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Peace out, everyone.